My name is Francie Beaman, and I grew up in Ojai. I ended up going to Ventura College and studied art there, and then went on to Colorado and studied art there at the Colorado University. We came back to California, and I ended up working at Santa Ana Unified School District, and I taught high school art, animation, graphic design, and AP computer science to high school students. And I loved it, every bit of it. The one thing that I tell my students, when you come into an art class, you need to recognize that you're the most powerful person in the world, especially with computer science going on, because expression and communication is so important. When you think about Benjamin Franklin, he used art to express what was going on in politics and their community, because most of the people couldn't read at that point, but they can understand a picture. So he would create satire type of art that would present itself one way, but it was received another way. And so Benjamin Franklin was a great communicator, and he knew the power of art. And I feel that if people can recognize all the way into media, the influence that media has in your life today, and especially for young kids, and there's a big responsibility as far as expression of art and media and photography. All of those things affect the mood of our society, and there is a responsibility with that. His name is Angel Galindo, and he was high functioning Asperger's. I was teaching animation for Angel. It was just a game changer. It turned him around 180 degrees. From this very shy student, he became very outgoing and very social. And it was another way for him to express himself, was through the art. And so I would have some of the Burbank animators come into my classroom. This happened 3 times. They would walk up and down each of the rows and look at the students that are showing promise. And every single time, artist or animator that would come in from the studios like Pixar, they would look at Angel's work and leave their business card with them. They said, when you graduate, you call us Angel. When you look at some of the famous artists in the world, I mean, Van Gogh is just phenomenal to me. His art is just so powerful. When I saw him, his work in France, they had this room that was maybe 12 by 12, and it was just his room. And you walk in, and out of everything that I've seen in all of the probably 15 galleries that I had went to, I walked into Van Gogh's room and my eyes just started to cry, because you just felt the mood. Monet was phenomenal, seeing his artwork. And those are the artists that influence me, is to dare to be different and not be more of a traditionalist. Just dare to be different. Let your color lead you into the next mood, because color is so powerful. And that's what I'm learning now, is really the power of color, the cleanness of a color, the mood that a color can bring, this subtle feeling that it can change a whole picture. Like, for instance, blue. Blue can look very dirty or it can look very crisp. And you always have to be very, very careful with how you mix your blue, because it's very mood changing. It's the sky, of course. When I express myself, I want to express a feeling. And I notice a lot of people when I go to galleries and they'll come, I'll just sort of listen to what other people might say, and they'll say, art, a lot of my art makes them happy. And to me, I thought, well, that's really quite a compliment, that I can change a mood for somebody and make them happy. I painted and drawn ever since I was a little girl. my brother was kind of a hot rod artist, and I used to beg him, please teach me how to draw hot rods. I want to learn how to do that. And so I'd go down to my dad's radiator shop, and he was working with my dad, and on his breaks, he'd sit down and show me how to draw. And it was like, pow, this is it. This is what I love to do. I do a lot of modern impressionism, is what I call it. For me, it's more freer strokes. And I like how the mood or the change of a stroke can give you a different impression. I've done fine art for a lot of years, but that's more of a tactical knowledge. You know, you learn step by step of how something looks like a tree or um, the ocean or a flower, and they look exactly like the real thing. I think that's something that's a skill you can learn, but I think art comes from inside of the artist and the change out of color and being able to see how you can control somebody's vision of your artwork through watching the line of the color or just the technique of the stroke or just um, how all of a sudden if you want to just draw a road you just make a line down the road and it casts color instead of doing the details of a road. So I really like the impressionistic style. Um, I think it's I think it's edgy. It's got a wow factor to it. A road trip to Flagstaff, and you can see how sometimes it looks like just blobs of color, but the the color in the trees were so bright orange that day, and you can see the back hills of the mountains and the terrain plateaus were just really on fire. So I love this one because I like the simpleness of the stroke, and I like the movement of the stroke because it gives you that sense of just wildness in it. And I just try to keep with just maybe two or three colors, and I mix those, mainly three colors, and I just mix them within each other because the less colors you use, the more effective your artwork is. For a client, isn't he fun? He's got several chickens on his farm or ranch, and he took a picture and wanted me to paint them for him. So I'm waiting for that to dry so I can ship that one out. And then I just did one of Ventura ocean scene. So it's really bright. I've taken road trips along the Highway 1, and I would stop and take pictures along sceneries that I've seen. And I started in San Diego and then just kind of went on up the coast and took tons of pictures. Some of the pictures that I've taken, I will name them per whatever community that is. And a lot of them, of course, is of Ventura, Santa Barbara, the coastal communities, Central Coast, like Morro Bay, things that people can relate to, because that's where I do my art shows. So if people see art that they can relate to, it's really important that they have something that they can connect to in their own home, because homes are very personal and very subjective. So when you go into somebody's home, you can see a lot of their personality, especially in the art they pick. I know a lot of people buy art because they're collectors and it's an investment for them. But the kind of client I like is a person that buys my art and just loves it, falls in love with it, and they can't wait to get it home and they can't wait to see it up on their wall. My husband is a craftsman, and so he makes all of my frames for me, and that really enhances the art piece itself. And my clients, they all love him because he tells them, what kind of woodwork do you want? What would you like on it? And I work a lot of my art color around um, what wood tone that they want, whether it's oak or, whatever it is that they pick, mahogany, stuff like that. So with that in mind, that's what I feel like. It's just when I make my clients thrilled to have a piece. And then they often come back and buy more. The one thing I would tell my younger self is to give myself that permission to be who I am. I mean, you are what you are, an artist. For me, I'm an artist, and I did the dance for so long thinking I needed to be something else because there wasn't anything out there or anyone out there to show me the ropes. And I encourage my students and young people to accept who they are. If they wanted to be a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger they can be. The problem is that I think we have so much status in our society on if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or an Indian chief, like it's, some direction to go. But it's really important to be who you are and to do something that you want to be good at. Even if you love it so much and you're not that good, you have to work at it. And I think art for me helps me overcome challenges such as why isn't a picture reading well? What is not working? So it's kind of like studying what color does and how it affects you and how art can move throughout the picture and make your eye work through it. And is what I'm seeing, is it the same of what somebody else is seeing? So it's a very powerful expression or emotion. And then I think when it doesn't work, for me, the accomplishment is making it work. It's to figure out what I need to push and pull back and change out to make a piece of art read well. And then when I'm done with it, I look at it and sometimes I'll just get a really wow factor. But if I'm not in love with it, I won't sell it. I have to be in love with my artwork. And I think that's pretty reflective of taste and what I like. And interesting enough, there might be somebody else out there that likes it too. So yeah, that's what I like. I like problem solving color.